If you ask me if I'm happy with the decision I made to relocate my family to Salem, Oregon, I'm going to give you a resounding yes. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you know I speak very highly of the city. From the open space and all the natural settings around us, the community vibe here, just a slower paced lifestyle, the charming downtown here, and the seasons that I really enjoy, and so much more. But if you're seriously thinking about making the move to Salem, Oregon, you need to hear the other side of the story. And in this video, I'm going to share some things that people don't necessarily like about living in Salem. There are some honest challenges that a lot of locals bring up and things that I hear from people that have relocated here like myself. And these may be deal breakers for some. Now, I'm not doing this video to scare you off from moving to Salem, Oregon, but I am making this video so you can make a better informed decision on whether Salem is going to be the right fit for you. I'm going to start off by talking about something that you will definitely notice if you move here during the winter. In fact, you may notice it during the fall move or a spring move. And yes, I'm talking about the weather. Now, don't skip over this, because as much as you think weather discussions and talk is boring, you're going to want to know this if you're not used to the Pacific Northwest weather patterns. This is something that my family and I had to greatly adjust for because we came from sunny Southern California, where it hardly rained or we hardly had any gray skies at all. And believe it or not, this is one of the top concerns and conversations I have with people who are thinking about moving to Salem. This is something that they think they may not like about Salem, and in reality, you yourself may not like it as well. We have about 150 days of precipitation per year. Yes, that's about half the year. Now, the good news is it's not raining stormy type rain constantly throughout those 150 days, and it's not 150 days in a row. But the reality is something that we call Oregon rain. It's kind of like a mist or a very light rain or light drizzle, and that can be frequent and constant during the fall, winter, and spring. When my family and I moved here, we moved here during the summer months. Everything was great. It was nice, warm, sunny, beautiful. And then fall came, late fall, and we noticed the weather turned pretty quickly. A lot more cloudy skies, got a lot cooler. And when winter hit, we were a little bit shocked. We were warned by many people before moving here that it was going to be a big adjustment, and that's the truth. It took us a full year to get through those winter months and early spring, where at first it was challenging. We didn't know what to do with ourselves. We weren't really prepared, but now we actually enjoy all the weather that we do experience here. But for me personally, and for a lot of people I speak with here, it's not so much the rain and the light rain that we get. It's more about the gray skies, the cloudy skies that kind of block out the sun. We will go for weeks or two where the sun pops out a little bit, but it is gray. And that can be challenging, especially for people that have some sort of seasonal depression or struggle with that, not getting that sunlight. It's a real issue to consider. And in fact, before moving here, I definitely highly recommend coming out here during that time to kind of experience what that's like. Especially if you're moving out here to truly enjoy the nature that surrounds us here in Salem like we did. It could put a damper on things, but that's only when you're not used to it. As we've lived here for over the years, we've gotten used to it. We go out, we explore nature during those misty days or the dark days. We don't really care or mind anymore. In fact, it's just part of life. We don't pop up the umbrellas when it rains here. In fact, if you do, they'll know you're not from around here, because our first year we were running around with umbrellas. People were looking at us a little sideways. And then we realize, oh, it's just the way of life here. And as I mentioned, we're not enduring these crazy stormy weather patterns where you're getting any type of hurricanes or tornadoes or just massive downpours. We get maybe one or two larger storms that run through, but again, it's just that constant rain. We get a little bit of snow, maybe once or twice a year. The snow sticks for a few days, but again, nothing like you'd experience in the Midwest. You're not stuck in your homes for weeks on end or anything like that. I think our biggest adjustment was with our kids, because we love being outdoors. Our kids love playing outside. And so we had to figure some things out, more indoor play. We find Salem is well equipped with a lot of indoor activities. So we take full advantage of that throughout the city, whether it's indoor playgrounds, indoor gyms, indoor rock climbing, whatever it is. There's a lot of things to do that'll keep you occupied, keep your kids occupied. So we were relieved to find that here in Salem. So if you're concerned about having a lot of rain or cloudy days or someone with seasonal depression, then this is something you may not like living in Salem. Now again, it's not as extreme as Seattle. We don't have extreme weather patterns like we do in the South or parts of the East Coast. We don't have crazy humidity during the summers, and it's not excessively hot as well during the summers. overall, it's really mild here, but you definitely need to be prepared for those gray, cloudy skies and quite a bit of rain that we do get here. The next thing you may not like about living in Salem, Oregon, is the homeless problem that we have here, and it is growing, unfortunately. Now, this is not unique to Salem, but I do want to point this out. A lot of people think that they're moving to a smaller town. A lot of people are moving from larger cities. Not everybody, but a lot of people. And so they think they're coming to a smaller city that doesn't necessarily have that issue. And I just want to make sure that you're fully aware that we do have that issue like everywhere else. And it's most visible in the downtown area. There's a park there called Marion Park right adjacent to the downtown area where you see a lot of homeless encampments, a lot of people hanging out there. There's also really close by a shelter. So that's the reason why you'll see it a little bit more in the downtown area than anywhere else. There's a few parks that run along the Willamette River, especially Wallace Marine Park in West, that you'll see. You don't necessarily see them like in the playground area, the soccer fields, or the baseball fields, but you'll see in the forested area along the river a lot of encampments, a lot of tent cities there as well. Now, the further out from the downtown Salem area, the less you will see it, the less visible it is, the less of a problem it is. Now, of course, this video is not an attack on the homeless population. It's just to highlight that we do have that issue here, and unfortunately that problem has not been resolved, and the issue has actually gotten worse over at least the few years that I've lived here. I've noticed it a little bit more. And as I mentioned, it's not nearly as bad as cities like Portland, Seattle, Los Angeles, where I come from, and other major cities that I've visited. And I've taken my kids all the local parks. There's no issues. I don't really feel unsafe when I go to the parks at all. I frequent downtown a lot, and they've never run into any issues there. So my personal experience is that I haven't really felt any safety issues or anything like that, but it is out there. The homeless problem is real here in Salem, and it's something that you definitely need to be aware about. And again, just because we are a smaller city doesn't mean that we don't have those problems to tackle with. And there's a lot of city initiatives out there to try to deal with it. Unfortunately, it just hasn't been working so far. As a reminder, I'm Dave Fine with the Real Estate Dads at eXp Realty, and I love doing these videos to help people like yourselves that are thinking about relocating to Salem, Oregon. If you're thinking about doing that and wanting to buy a home, make sure you reach out to my team and I. My contact information popping up right now or in the description below. Also, if you like these videos, learning more about the lifestyle of Salem, Oregon, because there's just not a lot out there, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I drop content frequently so you can see what it's like to truly live here. I know what you're going through because I've relocated myself, so I come from that perspective. Happy to answer any questions, whether you contact me directly or in the comments below. I always read those over. And hit the like button to get this video out to more people like yourselves that are thinking about moving to Salem. Now, I mentioned a little bit about downtown Salem, so let's talk about what happens when you're looking for something to do. And that is a concern for a lot of people moving here, and it may be something that you don't like about Salem in the fact that there's not a lot of nightlife activity here in Salem. So if you're looking for late night entertainment or big venues for entertainment, Salem's not going to be the place, and you're not going to like living here. If you want that, you're going to have to travel out to Portland, which is about an hour north, so it's not that bad to get that fix in, but just know it's not going to be here in Salem where you'd be living. We have fewer concerts here, there's less trendy restaurants, and we don't have any really grand shopping centers, especially if you're looking for kind of that high-end shopping. We just don't have that here in Salem, and that can be a complaint for some people that are still looking for that type of lifestyle and end up moving to Salem a little bit unprepared when they're expecting something more. Salem is just a slower, quieter paced lifestyle than you would find in Portland or even Eugene, which is about an hour and change south. The upside, however, is we've got plenty of small local gems, just not the big city vibe. We've got Elsinore Theater, the Grand Theater, some fun local breweries, great restaurants here. We just don't have like an NBA team or a pro soccer team. We don't have giant music festivals every weekend, or even late night clubs that go again till 2 a.m. as I mentioned. And for some people, that's actually a perk. They like that slower pace. But if you're someone who really thrives off that nightlife for the big events, you're going to really find yourself heading up to Portland or maybe even south into Eugene just to get that fix. But on the flip side, Salem is quieter, a little bit more focused on community vibe and all the nature that surround us. And that's why a lot of families or retirees or other people choose to move to Salem. But what if your main concern is not really about the lifestyle, it's more about career? Well, that's the next topic we're going to talk about here as something that people may not like about living in Salem. Like many smaller cities or mid-sized cities, when it comes to career opportunities, it's kind of hard to compare that to those that you will find in large cities. Here in Salem, we have three major sectors that truly drive the economy. The first being government. Now, we're at Salem, we're the capital of Oregon, so that should be an obvious one, but it's more than just the Capitol building. There's a lot of city, county, state, and federal jobs here that happen to be in Salem, Oregon. Most of it's going to be centered around the downtown area, so if you are moving here and you don't want longer commutes, now I say longer commutes somewhat jokingly because it really takes 20-25 minutes to get across town, but if you want to be really close, you want to be close to living to the downtown area. That's where most of the government jobs are going to be located. Now, with that being said, I'll say Salem is unique in the fact that although we are the capital here, I don't necessarily feel that political government vibe that I find in other capital cities. In fact, when you go to the downtown area, it's not a lot of people in suits. It's not a lot of people talking politics. It doesn't really feel necessarily like a government town outside the Capitol building right there in your plain view when you go downtown. But the reality is, it is a government town. It just doesn't necessarily have that grimy, slick feel that I've definitely experienced in other capital cities. The next big sector here we have is healthcare. We have the Salem Hospital, which is kind of the main anchor here, close to the downtown area. We've got a lot of supportive medical services all throughout the city. So if you're not necessarily going to be working in the hospital setting, but you're still in that field, we've got you covered here in Salem. So there's a lot of opportunities if you're in that healthcare field, the medical field. And because these are pretty well-paying jobs here in Salem, and when you compare it to the affordability that we experience here in Salem, having a career in that medical field, buying a house here because of the affordability makes it so much easier. The next biggest sector that we have here is education. If we're talking K through 12, whether you're a teacher, teacher's assistant, admin staff, IT, or someone who works in the public school system and thinking about moving here, we've got the Salem Kaiser Public School District, which covers all of Salem and Kaiser. So you're definitely be well covered if you're looking for a career here in K through 12. And if you're looking for more of a professor, we've got a number of colleges here. We've got the Chemeketa Community College, we have Corbin University, we have Willamette University, and then we have some other universities that surround the Salem area, so you're well covered there if that is something that you're looking for as well. And I'd say that's something actually pretty unique to Salem, with a population of only about 170,000 people, and as I mentioned, you can get from across town in about 25 minutes. With having that many higher level or college level education opportunities or career opportunities, I'd say is pretty cool if you're someone in that field looking to move to a smaller city and maybe some concerns about not having a career opportunity. We certainly have that here for you in Salem. But if you're looking for those big corporate headquarters, tech startups, or some specialized industries, Salem doesn't really have as much to offer compared to places like Portland or even Eugene. That means that some people either work from home remotely, start their own business, or commute north or south for higher paying jobs. Many of those higher paying jobs in those sectors are going to require for you to commute more or work from home. Now, that isn't necessarily a bad thing if you already have a remote job or if you're in one of those fields like healthcare or education. But if you're moving here expecting booming job market with endless opportunities in every industry, that's just not the reality. Now, I will say more and more people that are moving here are actually bringing their career or their jobs with them. As I mentioned, more people are working from home and remote. So it doesn't really necessarily mean they have to be in the big cities anymore. So they can move here to Salem, more affordable, more surrounded by nature, not having to live in that buzz or that quick paced lifestyle that you would find in a big city, still keep their careers and move here to Salem, Oregon. Now, of course, jobs and your career are a long-term factor to consider, but there's something you're also going to notice as soon as you go house hunting here in Salem, Oregon. Real estate here in Salem, Oregon still remains way more affordable than places like Portland, Eugene, Corvallis, or Bend. However, the prices are growing, and they are growing kind of quickly. Now, let's say the last couple of years we've had a little bit more stability or stabilizing those prices. That's kind of true throughout most of the country. But over the last 10 years, we've absolutely seen a rise in that price because there's been a lot of growth here in Salem. A lot of people are fleeing those big cities, coming to smaller cities like Salem, which happens to drive up the price and cost of housing. And if you talk to a lot of locals, this is something that they don't necessarily like about Salem, Oregon anymore. They feel like it's growing too fast, too many people are coming in, too many housing projects and developments. We've got a lot of new construction popping up all throughout Salem. We've got big ones happening in West Salem where there's just a little bit more land to grow. So you're seeing a lot more single family homes, but you're also seeing a ton of multifamily apartment and condo style places. We're talking about hundreds and thousands of new developments, new units coming in, which is adding so much more congestion and more traffic to an already stressed out system that we have here. There's also a lot of new development kind of in the eastern portion of Salem, hundreds and hundreds of new units being built out there, massive communities being built. And so again, it's putting a lot of pressure on congestion and traffic patterns, and we're definitely going to start noticing that in the next few years. Now, you would think with new construction and a lot more housing available that prices may come down, but that's just not the case because there's such a high demand and so many people moving here that either prices are staying stable or the prices continue to rise a little bit. So, but of course, with that said, it's still a heck of a lot more affordable than those other cities that I mentioned all throughout Portland and other big cities in the Pacific Northwest. What I'm hoping and what a lot of locals are hoping is that Salem doesn't lose its small charm feel, because that's a big draw that we have here in Salem. And given that we're surrounded so much by farmland and agriculture that's not really going anywhere, there's only so much more that can be expanded here in Salem. We have certain zones that cannot be built on. In some ways, that's a good thing that Salem's not going to expand too far out. The problem is we're just going to build more density within the areas that we have here in Salem, again, creating more congestion. And so that's something that you need to be maybe not worried about, but something you need to be aware of. So now that we've covered the things that people don't like about living in Salem, Oregon, let's talk about what that really means for you if you're considering a move here. The important thing is to know about these challenges ahead of time before you make the move here. And for some, these may be deal breakers. And for others, it may be just a nice trade-off for all the positive things that we have here in Salem: access to nature, that community vibe, slower paced life, and the more affordability when it comes to housing. If you want to balance this video out a little bit, make sure you check out my video about the unexpected perks about living in Salem, Oregon, and you'll see why people move here despite the downsides that I mentioned in this video.